Hi guys. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's First of all, I want to say congratulations to those of you who have been watching the video on redundancy power backups. It seems that video has had a positive impact on many people's understanding of energy. Today we had the wide angle lens on, or semi-wide angle, because, well, originally we were going to do a group movie and that didn't work out. So instead of putting back on the other lens, I figured I'd use this one. Actually, there's another reason to that, which was the 24 to 37 millimeter step-up ring did not come. And because it didn't come, I couldn't really see what kinds of add-ons I could put onto the camera. And so I did some experiments with this one to determine things like what kind of features I could do. And the first problem is this. These cameras have automatic white balance, and because they have automatic white balance, it kind of takes some of the features that I take for granted out of my control. And that kind of makes me feel kind of sad, because I'm, as an amateur photographer, I prefer having access to the full range of features for compositions, colors, brightness, contrast, background, backdrops, focus controls, who's going to be focused versus what's going to be focused, things like that. And unfortunately it doesn't exist on this, but that's not the other reason I wanted to talk to you about, but that certainly is related to the next part. As you may know, I'm legally blind. I do not have 20/20 vision. I'm far from 20/20 vision. And despite the fact that I am legally blind, and despite the fact is that I do my best to compensate for my handicaps, one of the problems is that, like many people, I live on an entitlement program. And I don't like it anymore. I haven't really felt comfortable with entitlements anyway, but every time I think of entitlement programs, I get just kind of upset. Because there's another reason I have a big wide angle lens here. Come on, Bane. You can stay, just lay down. Okay? You want to keep my legs warm? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that one of the problems with entitlements is that when you become entitled, it's almost like you enter the realm of the gilded cage. That is, everything you do now is like you can't do for money. If you do it for money, you're at the risk of losing your entitlements. And so many people lose their desire to do anything in their lives, and they start to get kind of slothful and fat, which increases the risk of health issues. And the problem with that whole idea is that's not what the entitlement programs were for. That was not the reason why they were created, to create people with health problems or to make people feel disenfranchised. A couple of years ago in England, they found this, some of the British government found this out the hard way, when a group of youngsters that were living on, parents or on their version of food stamps and subsidized housing, began to grow very, very disenfranchised with the system. Now, they're not stupid people, mind you. They're really intelligent. But because of the fact is that these children said to themselves, I'm not getting anything out of this. I don't have a future. I'm not encouraged to do anything. If I do anything, then I get punished by the government. If I try to even come in that, so people think I'm slothful and lazy, even though I want to do more. Young gentlemen, ladies, I understand what you're saying 1,000,000%. It's the same here in the United States. We have an entitlement program that has basically created a bunch of over people who have basically live broken dreams. We don't have dreams. We're not allowed to have dreams. And we're not allowed to follow through in our dreams. Because we are basically mandated to stay in the low income bracket for the rest of our natural lives. Unless we're willing to take that chance and walk out and say, I'm tired of playing this game. I'm tired of living on welfare. I'm tired of living like a mendicant beggar. Constantly always have to go around looking for food from government programs. I'm tired of filling out paperwork where they ask me every single question, including how much my electric bill is or my gas bill. I'm tired of having to feel like my life is under a microscope. I'm tired of seeing everybody else have a good life, and yet I end up basically feeling like I'm not getting nothing. And that's what they feel like. And you know what? It stinks. It stinks because it totally removes the ability for each individual to say, I, whatever your name may be, want to be in control of my own destiny. I want to do what I need to do for me. If I want to eat like a pig and go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and eat until I explode, that's my choice. In fact, on welfare, that's exactly your choice. That is your primary choice. Free food! You know, it's like, free food to feed your belly! We'll make more! Oh, don't worry about that triple bypass you need. We'll take care of that too. Oh, and your diabetes will pay for those drugs. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. There's a lot of brain trusts down in those classes. They're smart people. They're not dummies. And yet, we expect that these people will remain a welfare dummy for the rest of their life. We think that because of their disability, in my case, legal blindness, which is what I'm listed for, Asperger's, which is a pervasive developmental disability, was not added to my disability file. That was diagnosed much later as an adult. Legal blindness, I was diagnosed as a baby. Okay? So therefore we know that. Okay? Arthritis came before Asperger's. Again, it's not in my file. Okay? But when people see me, they go, gee, you're a smart person. Why aren't you doing something with your life instead of sitting on your big fat ass? And you tell them why. Because most employers will not hire me because I am legally blind. That's stupid. That is stupid. But, on the other hand, let's look at the realities. I live in an area that has very little mass transit. There is no jobs right now because the economy is not to the point where employers are willing to hire additional people yet. It could get there. It's getting there very, very slowly. Maybe in about 6-7 months we might see that opportunity for certain fields. But if you're legally blind, your opportunities are even more short-sighted because there's a misnomer among employers that legally blind people are going to increase their liability insurance. I don't know if that's entirely true. I mean, I suppose it could be. It all depends on what kind of job it is. Very few legally blind people are going to be able to, say, for example, work in McDonald's on the grill, trying to read the LCD screen over there on the far wall, seeing what kind of hamburgers the customer wants. That's not going to happen. Okay? I did a job search in the different types of jobs. I did my own scoping out of a job because I didn't have a rehabilitation counselor, so I did my own research into what was available. And I talked to the manager at McDonald's in Willimantic, and this time they were just starting to get into the electronic stuff. And he told me, he said, Michelle, I am sorry, but I'm sure you already know this. There is no practical way that we can put you into our system because we rotate shifts. We each person learns the whole operation from the front of the house, bussing tables, to the back of the house, such as doing the commissary in the stock area. And in the case of the grilling area, every single person has to know or will learn as part of their training how to do that. But the problem is if you cannot read the orders on the LCD screen, then there's no practical way we can put you to work. And I just was very nice with him. I said, thank you. I'm glad we agree. I can see that this would be a problem. And that is a problem. Because it really makes us feel more and more exasperated. Now, let's talk about something related to that, shall I? Okay, computers. Most modern computers today are all pictures, little icons. You know, we pick, we point, we click, we drag. For example, I do a lot of that on the Mac. Point, click, drag, point, click, drag. And on the Mac, it takes me quite a while. On a Linux machine, if I'm using the command line, or if I'm using the command line in the Mac, I can get things done pretty damn fast because all I have to do is just know the name of the command, what I want to do with it, what the options are for that command, and I can get it done. Okay. When I'm using the desktop, I have to get really close to the screen. If you remember from me reading a paper some time ago, even though I made it very large, well, some people can read a book like this. I gotta get right onto them with a book like that. And that means that it creates hardships for anybody who's going to hire you. One, they may not be able to make the screen movable enough that you can bring it right down to your face. It's not necessarily practical in McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken or Wendy's. It may be possible in an office environment, but if your office environment, the cubicle, was set for a 2020 person and the equipment is set in such a way that it is not adjustable, then it's just not going to happen either. Now, as I said, I prefer radio. But even in radio, there is still some visual stuff too. First of all, you got to be able to read the music, the title tracks, or the records, and CD labels. You got to be able to read those, obviously, because you got to be able to figure out what you're going to play. If your radio station uses a playlist that's generated by someone, or even by yourself, maybe something you typed, and it's on a computer screen that tells you what songs to play. In addition to that, tells you when to play commercials, and of course at what time, and maybe they might be multiple versions of the same commercial for different times. So you have to be able to read that. And if you are a studio that's still using the older 4-track tapes, cartridges, sometimes known as audio cards, you need to know how to read those labels off the audio cart rack and plug those into the player. If it's digital now, which it usually is, it's still, you got to be able to select the right file to put onto the MP3 player program or whatever software you're using. But in many cases, it may be more adaptable than, say, McDonald's or Burger King or any other places. But it's still going to be a real difficult challenge for you to get your potential employer in the radio station industry, radio broadcasting, to say, okay, fine, we'll give you a try anyway. I run a Part 15 AM radio station here in Winston. I'm talking from experience here. I am not talking out my ass. I happen to have to do all that stuff and then some. Do my eyes hurt at the end of the day? Yes, they do. But see, the nice thing about radio is I don't have to worry about being all dressed up for it. Okay? I don't have to worry about if my underwear are too tight, or if my bra is too loose, or if maybe I didn't wash my hair this morning or something, or maybe my makeup is a little off, or that my cat is clamming all over me. I just basically get in front of the microphone. I have an agenda. I already know what I was going to talk about, and then I talk about those topics, and then that's what me and Lemmy do. One of the things me and Lemmy talked about this morning was that she said to me, she says, what the hell do you want to do with your life? Because I know you're not happy here. She said to me, I mean, what do you want to do? I said, Lem, there has to be a way. There has to be something out there that I can do. I don't want to live on welfare for the rest of my life. I don't want to end up in a piano crate. And I don't want to even think about someone putting my body in a crematorium and I'm gone, and all of a sudden have a big greasy mess all over the floor. I don't want that. I want instead to get out there, enjoy that my life is half over. I'm already 44 years old. I'm going to be 45 in a few months. Can't I be given the ability to enjoy some of the very sought-after American dream? That's the most important thing to me. I want to enjoy the American dream. She said to me, I don't know how they can do that. I know that there's a lot of people that feel the same way. My case manager agreed. But the problem is that these government entitlement programs are not thinking about that. They think, here's your check, shut up, sit there and go play Farmville on Facebook. It doesn't matter if you get fat or not. We will always have a place for you, even if it is in a FEMA camp, in a re-education center if we need to. And if we don't want to play by the rules, or even if we do, that's okay. Shut up, eat the food, get fat, die, and we'll use your body fat for biodiesel for cars, for trucks or tanks or whatever they're going to do with it. After all, you paid enough. You already paid enough to create you. Now we're going to harvest you for everything it's worth. Scary, huh? But it's actually what they do. I gotta say that the thing that I'm seeing right now is, as far as my life is, let's do something. Can I speak? Of course. I'm going to ask you a question because I want to ask you this because I know we were talking about this in the bathroom, but I really think that there's some misunderstandings about some things. Okay? If you left the entitlements, are you ready to realize the practice that if you don't find a job, you're going to be as bad off as that gentleman here in Winston that we both know? You know what I'm talking about. I know what you're talking about, yeah, and maybe the audience doesn't. There's this guy, I will not give names because I respect him, and that much. And he's a mendicant beggar. He's actually he supposedly says he's a Christian beggar. He kind of lives a life very similar to that of Saint Francis of Assisi, and he has no money. He has no social security check. He has no food stamps. He has no nothing. Well, to answer your question, I'm not really sure, but I mean, the biggest thing is for me is a lot of boredom. Yeah, the boredom part is a problem because Michelle's right. If you look around, most of the people on these entitlement programs are bored. Bored, 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 bored. Because they have nothing to do in their lives. They just sit there, get on Facebook, play Farmville and Farmville 2 and all these other games. And that's all they do. Oh, yeah, when they're bored, they eat. They're really actually trying to feed and eat. It's just that they don't realize that the need is not to sit there playing Farmville. The need is that they want to feel like they're part of something. Like Michelle said earlier, is once you get into these entitlement programs, you're basically living in a gilded cage. You're a prisoner. Because if you try to get ahead, you are punished. If you sit there and drink the Kool-Aid, you're fine. Except you get fat and you're miserable and you start to smoke cigarettes, or you start to drink, or you start to drug, which they say is bad. And yet, they're all using us much else to do. It seems to me that the problem with this country is that your entitlement programs really need to be upwritten, redesigned, to encourage people to feel like they have more self-worth. There's no way anybody in this world should have to live like me and Michelle. There's no reason why that should ever happen. I don't know what the government was thinking when they created these entitlement programs, but I don't think they intended to create a group of morbidly obese people sitting there in the lower trenches, angrily looking at the rest of the well-to-dos, crinkling $100 bills in front of their nostrils and going, "You want this? And get off your ass and get it." And then when they try, well, the opportunities are not there. I know Michelle, and I know Michelle is a smart person, and I know that she's been working very hard on these videos. And I know that Michelle really wants to reach out to you. Michelle loves you. And Michelle wants you to be happy too. All these videos take time to prepare, and all these videos are very, very time consuming in editing and preparation. Well, sometimes they look like they're a hack job. I can assure you that Michelle really works hard on those videos and these videos to make sure that at the very least that the sound is good, the picture is good, and that there's a lot more going on here than you think. But Michelle is also running into a problem, and that is she feels her self-worth is just not worth it. You know, that you have to understand that Michelle grew up in a Republican household. And she was always taught that she should work and she should try her best to provide for her own needs, not to depend on the dole. And yet, at the same time, her family realized that with her legal blindness, it was going to be very difficult for her to get out there and find a job because she cannot drive a car. She cannot um, expect to find an employer in Winston because Winston is just too small. And most of the shops in Winston are mom and pop. And so Michelle would basically realize is that she needs to find her own form of gainful employment. The problem is that it costs money to do that, to start a business. One of the things about Michelle is she loves communication. And Michelle loves reaching out and educating and helping people to understand what they are or what they feel. Michelle loves reaching out. But sometimes it's getting difficult to do that with the level that she wants to do. A couple months ago, she did a video on how she wanted to get some new equipment. Second-hand equipment. Since that time, we got the cameras, we got the analog to digital converter, we finally rewired the video cables, and as you can see, the picture is definitely much better than it was before. Okay, granted, because we have to compress this picture down to a tiny picture, only because of the fact that we don't want to end up taking weeks to upload a file. So Michelle compresses the videos down quite a bit, so it fits in a small space. But the most fascinating thing about what we're doing here is that Michelle is showing you that even though you're on disability, you can do anything you really want if you're willing to just find the way to get the resources to make it happen. And these videos take a lot of work. In the last 2 months alone, Michelle has spent over $100 between the 2 months to get this equipment to where it is now. And I know some of you well-to-do people say $100, I could spend that in a day, or even in an hour. Welcome to the poor side of town, honey. This is the reality. Michelle has to make sure, of course, her needs are met too. Her cat's got to be fed. Her cat's got to be treated for fleas and all the other things that they have to go through in life. And, of course, their allergies. And yet, the important thing is, come on, fam, relax. Don't see your face. Okay, you okay? Yeah? Alright, good. This cat has allergies, and so I hope this saliva that on my face is gonna give me a cold. It's already too late, Lil. You already got one. I know. Okay. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. What I'm trying to say is that there is sometimes when we just need a little help. Now, Michelle is constantly let you know how you can reach her. And she'll continue to do that even today. And she will ask you, like she always does, to contact her and to send PayPal money because Michelle really needs help. The video processor she still wants to do chroma key. It's still $300 to $400 to $500. It's just not there. If you want to do it by computer, you need the software, and you need a much faster Mac than she has. Preferably an Intel Core 2, Core Dual or Core Quad iMac. As I said, that's a lot of processing money. That's a lot of expense. That's just not gonna happen, honey. It can't happen without your help. That's just the thing that we need to make sure you understand. Who else in this world will spend hours trying to tweak and work on performance and making a picture better, brighter, cleaner, and less errors, and something that you can be proud of having on your desktop? And that's what Michelle does. And that takes a lot of time. She's dedicated to what she does. But she needs some help here. The Snow Queen Palace, which is what we call our home here, is a small little apartment. It's about, 500 square feet? 24, 44, 40. Length of it is about 48 feet. The width of it is about 48 feet. You do the math. One floor. Michelle said she would love to have actual studio rental. There's these places called the Mill. There's studios for artists. And Michelle would like to have had one so that she could keep things, separate between her home life, and that is her entertainment life, and her vocation life. But she needs that chroma key processor more than she needs the studio. So, could you be willing, if you have time and a little bit of money, can make a contribution to help us make this happen? It's really easy, and it doesn't cost really a lot. We can easily work with $10 a person. I mean, $10 a person. If 40 people send $10, we could make it possible to get that video processor thingy. You can send your donations to PayPal, and to do that, you just send them to B as in boy, ICHELA3 at yahoo.com. And like it says in our videos, you can also contact us and send us personal money orders or even personal checks to the mailing address that is almost always in the comment section of the videos. Michelle wants to really, really continue to expand her horizons so that we can do more. We can reach more people, and that we can talk to more people. Please, help us to reach more people. Now you understand that this is not just because this welfare legally blind person wants to just get off entitlements. Something the Republicans want, and being she is a Republican, that makes a lot of sense. But it's also because she also believes in reaching out to you and to do what she has to do right now. She needs your help to go much further in the work as she's doing. thank you very much for listening to our videos. And Michelle, you want to say something? I, um, not really. I think you pretty much wrapped it up pretty well. Oh yeah. Um, I mentioned earlier the camera. Yeah. Okay. Um, I really would like to have had a camera that would let me do manual white balance. Instead of one that automatically assumes a certain lighting system. Because there are times when I'm going to be able to do special effects using lighting controls and lighting contours. Well, I think one thing you also need is a new set. I think you need a new studio props. I think you need a new set. A Snow Queen against a green couch, stuffed animals in the back is not really that cool. Maybe not cool, but it also gives a little bit about who I am or where I live. Yeah, that's true. I guess it does. Also, Michelle was asked if she would ever wanted to dye her hair black, and Michelle said, "I don't know if I'm going to do that." But I think it would be kind of interesting to see what would happen if Michelle ever did do her hair black. But for the persons who asked, Michelle worked really hard to get her hair where it is now, and to go through all the efforts and change it again would be really problematic at best, because it took a lot of work to, get where she is. So, anyway, I think it's time we go. Yeah, I think it's time to go too. And everybody listen, like she said, please, can you send some donations? I'm really serious. You can send them to B as in boy, ICHELA3 @yahoo.com. That is the PayPal address. And of course, you can send checks, money orders to my address of 112 Main Street, apartment number 9, Winstead, Winsted, Connecticut 06098. Also, I still could use equipment. Okay, honestly, I definitely need the video processor, the chroma key processor. If I could get that as equipment, and the one that is ready to run and ready to go, that would make a hell of a difference. But please make sure you understand, the only cameras we have right now are composite. They're not component. And all these cameras have their own internal sync generators. And you cannot necessarily disable them. So, if you send like an Ultimate video processor, make sure you understand that we would need one that can provide either its own gen lock or one that can work with the camera's built-in existing horizontal and vertical signals. Also, the cameras here are NTSC, they're not PAL. I tried to find PAL cameras, but that's not what happened. So, I will see you soon. And again, like before, please do not forget the comments, because I'm sure of all the videos I've done, this is probably going to be one of the videos that potentially might cause a little bit of anger and resentment. But if you're angry at me because I'm trying to get off the dole, then maybe you have to look at your own situation. Maybe there's a reason why you're angry. I don't know. But that's between you and you. You're going to have to deal with that one. I can't help you there. Good night.